Welcome to your 4 to 5. Time to start things off today. It is Friday, too.
It is so Friday.
Yes. Eric, Chad, and Lauren with you today.
Hey, everybody. And you know the drill. We've got so many ways to watch us. News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app.
Coming up in this half hour, we're talking about National Cinema Day, which is tomorrow. So ahead of that, in the Facebook comments, let us know your favorite way to watch a movie. At the theater, at home, in your comfies, maybe it's IMAX. So let us know. We'll be talking about that. But before we get to the fun stuff, we have to get to the serious stuff. We are learning more about a deadly house fire in High Point. Firefighters responded to the home on Green Drive around 3 a.m. It was fully engulfed, but took less than 15 minutes to get under control. Investigators found one person dead inside. 4 others were able to get out. We spoke with a neighbor who knew someone who lived there.
It is quiet. It's not a lot that go on around here and stuff. And so, to hear that we had a fire so close, it was something, because nothing usually happen over here.
The Red Cross is working to help the victims. Firefighters have not determined a cause.
While we don't know what led up to the fire in High Point, officials are always emphasizing the importance of smoke detectors. They say a lot of fires start by simple mistakes with common household items.
And as always, we always like to tell everybody, be sure and check your smoke detectors. If you're home, folks, those things will save your lives. A lot of times just, unintentional. Most of them are mistakes. People are just using stuff as intended, and they forget to turn it off, forget to put it out.
If you would like to have your smoke alarm checked or installed, check with your local fire department. Most will come out and do it for free. These stories that we cover, it just emphasizes the importance of having some type of safety plan in addition to working smoke detectors in your home, just in case you were ever in a situation like this.
We have a plan, a central meeting place, but the one thing we don't have that I think I ought to have is, because our kids' bedrooms are on the second story and we're on the bottom, and I don't have those ladders that you can roll out of a window.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like we need that in case you can't get down to our meeting place.
I think a situation like this also comes in handy, having a place to store important documents, maybe in a fireproof safe, or have it on file somewhere else. My grandparents recently lost their home to a fire a little less than a year ago, and the document part was huge, finding medical records, dental records, car insurance, different things like that. That was a challenge for my parents to gather that information, because it was lost in the fire.
They didn't have the safe.
They didn't have the safe.
And those things they're a little expensive, not horribly expensive, but it is worth it for that very reason.
I recently bought one. It cost like $60.
Yeah, you can get them cheaper.
on Amazon. I'm sure the Amazon driver hated dropping off because that thing weighs a ton.
Yes.
But it's simple to do. Do they also have like the stickers, right? Like the yellow stickers that you put on your child's window to signify that a child is in there?
Yes.
So they might give that room priority.
Yeah,
right?
and ours are literally, our kids' rooms are spread across the entire second level, and that is something that we thought about, is that our central meeting place is on the staircase, but sometimes you can't get to the staircase.
And it's great you all have a plan. I remember back in grade school, probably like 3rd grade, it was an assignment to come up with the escape plan for your household. But I moved around so much, I can't remember if we ever, went back to the drawing board to do that. And even now as an adult, I'm like, if I were in that situation, how exactly would I get out? So I'm not sure if a lot of people actually have a plan, put in place.
And the smoke alarm batteries, I like that the fire departments always promote when we change the clocks.
Yep.
To also change the battery and the smoke detector, the fire, or the carbon monoxide detector, all that stuff.
And they will come out and check your smoke detector for free. We do that every year with them. So,
really?
Yeah, it's very important. We have one fire station maybe 1.5 miles from our house, and I have stopped by before and said, would you mind? They said, absolutely. When we'll do it when we have time. You set an appointment, they come by and they check them all.
And it's free?
Free.
Wow, that's interesting. All right, time now for your 4 to 5 roundup. First up today, COVID boosters specifically targeting the Omicron variant are headed to health departments, pharmacies, hospitals across the country. The CDC gave its final approval yesterday. Both Pfizer and Moderna say they are ready to go. Johns Hopkins University tracks COVID data. It says over the last week, about 500 people have died every day from COVID. As far as COVID transmission, the latest CDC map shows lots of our counties, including Guilford, still in orange, the highest level. Alamance, Randolph, and Allegheny improved from orange to yellow, but Caswell and Montgomery took a step backward. 24 counties in the state are at the lowest level, the green on the map, but none are in our area. Now to a baby formula update. The Michigan plant that had closed, triggering a national supply shortage, is up and running again. Abbott Nutrition is set to resume making Similac. The company hopes production will help families still scrambling to feed their infants. It takes about 6 weeks before the product on the line is shipped.
This week marks the 10th anniversary of Black Breastfeeding Week. The week was created to break down barriers around breastfeeding in Black and brown communities. A program at North Carolina A&T State University works to close the gap by bringing up the next generation of lactation professionals. Jania Mitnall-Williams is the program director of the Human Lactation Training Program at NC A&T. Despite the benefits of breastfeeding, such as the reduction of acute and chronic diseases from infancy to adulthood, Williams says African Americans continue to have the lowest breastfeeding rates.
Yeah, so there are many challenges. One is definitely tied to slavery with wet nursing, and formula companies market it heavily in parents' magazines and Black women magazines such as Essence. And then the lack of lactation supporters from the provider lens who look like Black and brown people.
Housed in the Department of Family and Consumer Sciences, the program is specifically designed for students who are committed to providing breastfeeding education and support to marginalized communities. It's one of the only 2 lactation certificate programs based at historically Black colleges and universities in the country.
And we're not only making clinical lactation consultants, we're also making lactation consultants who will go into research, folks who will go into policy and change, because we're definitely trying to change the future for maternal and child health.
The lactation program received accreditation in 2020. Jessica H. is a part of this year's 3rd cohort.
I am a lover of content creation that is online, so I really want to share the knowledge that I learned here on online platforms like TikTok and Instagram, and really make it accessible for people for no charge, really.
Last year, the program piloted an outpatient clinic. Williams says they received grant funding to continue that clinic and plan to open it towards the end of the fall. With this clinic, patients will be able to come to the university to receive breastfeeding support.
Not a bad forecast as we head into the holiday weekend. Looking pretty good. The unofficial end to summer, a lot of people call it. I'd like to hang on a couple more weeks if we can. The weather looks pretty good actually over the stretch. 85 in Greensboro right now. Burlington, you're at 91. Asheboro 86. Lexington and High Point at 88. So a little bit warm out there, and the humidity starting to build back in. Mostly clear heading into the night. Tonight it'll be 64 degrees, and then tomorrow partly sunny, mainly dry. We start to see a slight chance of a shower or late day storm get into the outlook as we head into the weekend, but really Monday's probably a better chance of seeing that. We're really high and dry right now. Let's go out to a wider shot so you can see. Even to the south, we're seeing a little bit in the southern parts of South Carolina and central Georgia, from Atlanta up to the upstate of South Carolina, and that's about it. So overall, lower humidity. That air is off the coast now, and then we'll start to usher in more of a humid air mass with the approach of this cold front. So you see that to the north. Now this is Sunday morning, now Sunday midday, and that front gets closer and closer. So you know what happens then. Our rain chances start to go up just a little bit over the next couple of days, especially as we head into Sunday and into Monday, the second half of the holiday weekend there. So for tonight, that 64-degree overnight low with high temperatures tomorrow, as we mentioned, mid-80s. They're 86 degrees. Hold that mid-80 reading, even though we drop it a little bit, 85, 84 for Sunday and Monday. But rain chances slip back in, 30% Sunday, 50% Monday for Labor Day. And as we head into next week, Tuesday, a little bit of rain there, 40% late day again, 84, but cooler air, drier conditions coming in for Wednesday, Thursday. Highs in the low 80s, around 82 and 83 for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week.
She's part of a team setting the bar for Guilford County EMS. You won't believe how many lives she's touched and saved. It's next.
Not one, not two, but three. That's how many lives Chelsea Dye and her EMT team saved in 1 week in Guilford County. But she doesn't stop there with her rescue efforts, because when she's off the clock, she does rescues of another kind. Here's part of my conversation with her from earlier today.
Let's make sure our monitor is good. Yep, monitor's good.
All right, Chelsea, tell me how you got into this, because I thought at one point in my life I might do this, and then, I think chemistry told me I would not. How did you get into this?
I wanted to do this outside of high school, but I went a separate way. While I was working in management, I decided to try and go back to it, try and get my EMT, and I did, especially after my dad got sick. I wanted to pursue it, so here I am almost 4 years later.
Wow. All right, so in this thing that happened to you guys recently, 3 saves in 1 week, tell me about that.
It's not something that happens. It's not something that's easy either. But our ultimate goal is to give families a little more time with their loved ones. We don't always get a positive outcome out of everything, but it's more time. And I think that is an opportunity that a lot of people don't get to have.
So when you went through that, let's just talk about the situation for maybe one of them. You guys get there, it is a life-threatening situation, and did they code and then you bring them back, or did you stop them from it? Wow.
Yes, and we actually had somebody pass on us. That was one of our instances, and we were able to get her back.
That's amazing, bringing someone back. 3 times in 1 week?
Yes.
Same crew, right? You and the
Yes.
same? That's amazing. And I think they were saying that was what percentage of the...
So there was 9 that week, and we did 3 out of the 9.
So 33% of the saves that week were you guys. That's phenomenal. Now, you don't just save people lives, you work with animals too. Tell me about that.
I've been working with rescue for about 7 years. I work with Sheets Pet Clinic as far as cats and kittens, and I most recently have started transporting dogs back and forth across the state to get to rescue.
So you're helping to do you help rehab them as well, or you foster
Yes,
them?
so we foster kittens and cats. Unfortunately, I don't have the space to foster dogs, so I just transport them more so to safety. But we tube feed bottle kittens that don't have a mom all the way from a day old, and we'll keep them all the way up to 12 weeks if we have to.
Some model citizen, people. You hear me? We all could take a page from her book. Thank you for talking with us today. She's so sweet. I mean, as soon as she's off the clock, she's saving animals. So, I mean, it's amazing. But they did say that's almost unprecedented for 33% of the life saves that week was her crew, which is,
wow.
I think, just her and her main partner, and there's like somebody else sometimes. They were training somebody today, so they had 3. But she and that partner have been together the whole time she's been an EMT.
Yeah,
I was going to say that this is proof that EMTs do not get the credit that they deserve. We always talk about life-saving professions. You've got the doctors, the nurses, and hospital staff. But these folks are going out into the environment. You know, it's a very controlled environment in a hospital, right? But these people are going out, and especially these days, we hear all the time about opioid overdoses and how EMTs are the first to respond and how they have to bring people back from someone who has died. I mean, it's just incredible.
That's what I was going to say. They're on the first line of the fence, and they see a lot of things. So to do this job, you have to be a special person to, be calm and really care for people, because sometimes, they're the life-saving grace in that situation.
I asked her, I said, how do you, I know it's your job, but still, how do you handle that? And she's only 4 years in to being an EMT. Her partner is more than 2 decades of doing it, but they do this together, and she said, we're sticking together as a team. She said, it's amazing, and there's no job more gratifying than, I mean, literally, their heart stopped 3 different times, 3 different situations that week, and they got them back again. And she said, and one of them was a while, it wasn't just they just stopped their heart. This one was going on for a minute or so. I don't know what the time was, but she said it was a while, and we got them back. So.
I'm just so inspired by the strength. I'm looking at these photos of her, and she just has that smile on her face. That great energy, and you just see some terrifying things, especially in overdose situations and things of that nature.
And it's incredible that they really only need a few months training to go through and be responsible, and be able to do all
or
these
help
things.
people give birth and with their birthing process and all of that. It's a lot of stuff that you learn in that short amount
They're
of
like,
time.
I told her, I said, you're almost like a medical handyman
Yeah.
because you have to be able to do a little bit of everything.
Right.
And she said, that's exactly what us and ER doctors are. We're the first person that has to assess, and then if they have to go to a specialist, they do. But she said, we are the first people that get there. I can't imagine that pressure.
Great story, Eric.
Thank you. She's a good person. We'll be right back. Well, it's that time of the year that we start to talk about the tropics, isn't it? And watching 2 or 3 different systems here, you can see one down here in the southern part of the Atlantic, the other one off the coast of Africa. This one is so far north, but it is the one that we'll look at and talk about right now, and probably in the short term, even though it's probably of no consequence to us on the East Coast. It's still something to see. And, kind of a ragged eye there to that system, but it is trying to reorganize. Let's move the satellite image over a bit, and you can see the winds up to 75 miles per hour. This is Hurricane Danielle. It is barely a Category 1. 74 miles per hour makes it a Category 1. It's at 75. We'll keep an eye on that, but for now, smooth sailing. The one we showed you originally in the southern Atlantic that we were looking at there, that one bears watching because in the next 48 hours we could have, that would be Tropical Storm Earl if it is upgraded, so we'll let you know about that. 86 in Winston-Salem, 85 in Greensboro, 88 in High Point and Lexington, Asheboro, 86. Across the region, pretty clear across our neck of the woods, looking good. Cloud cover a little bit toward the coastal section. So if you're headed down toward the coast, it's still nice, don't get me wrong, but you may see an isolated shower or two. But really overall, a good 3-day weekend coming up for most folks. When you look at this, lower humidity is exiting, and then now we see a more humid air mass start to move in. Here's a low pressure center up around the Great Lakes, but that's pushing south and east. And as that front gets closer and closer over the next few days, we start to slip in a rain chance. Really not a rain chance today, but we see a 20% possibly for Saturday, maybe even a 30 on Sunday, and then bump that up to a 40 to 50% for Monday. Monday is probably the rainiest day, although still not a complete washout. We expect some late day showers, but you could see it at any time, more likely in the late day time period. 64 for the low tonight, mostly clear and cool. The high tomorrow, 86. We'll say mainly dry because once again, the rain chance is only at 20%, so not a big deal. 30% on Sunday, 85 degrees. We'll kind of stair step our high temperatures down to 84 for Monday, and that's a 50% chance of rain for that afternoon. Hold it at a 40% on Tuesday and 84. Notice that trend there. At least we're shaving a degree off almost every day. 82 for Wednesday, 83 Thursday, Friday. Those days, slight rain chance Wednesday, Thursday, but a better chance Friday afternoon. A week from today, you're looking at a 40% chance of showers by then, and our overnight lows for the most part mid to upper 60s.
If there's a movie you've been dying to see, maybe tomorrow is the perfect day to watch it. As part of National Cinema Day, some theaters are offering $3 tickets to celebrate going to the movies. Aside from the cheap discount, it's also a good opportunity to try out other movie forms. Theaters aren't charging extra for IMAX, Dolby, or 3D movies. So if you've been wanting to check out these formats, tomorrow might be the perfect day to do it. I have never seen a movie in IMAX, but I've always wanted to.
It's amazing.
I saw Black Panther in IMAX, and it was awesome. It just kind of like pulls you into the movie. It's a different experience.
Do you remember Gravity with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock?
Yes, I haven't seen it, but
I saw that and I was breaking the set.
I'm sorry. It's so excited about Gravity.
I saw that in IMAX, and that's when you're like in space, and you had to close your eyes a couple times.
Have you ever been to an IMAX theater inside of a museum before? I have, in like a space museum. They really like take up the whole whole space. It's a really cool experience.
I'm looking because I asked people their favorite way to watch a movie, and Elizabeth just skipped right past it and said, "I'm just looking forward to the John Coltrane International Jazz Festival, which is this weekend."
Well, there you go, right?
She's not worried about the discount.
Right,
I mean,
right.
but $3 discount, that's pretty awesome, because if you think about it, you get your movie ticket, and if you go with someone else, you get the popcorn, you get a drink. You're looking at a $100 bill by the end of all of this.
You're not doing it right.
If you want to go with a date or bring your family, this is the weekend.
You gotta find someone to take you on a first date, and then they pay for it all, right?
Yeah, he got money. Have y'all seen that video before?
No.
Oh, You're missing out, but it's about someone paying for them to go to the movies.
Because they got the large popcorn.
Yeah, they got the large. So you've seen it before.
Try taking
large popcorn. He got money.
try taking my family to the movies.
What is that like?
$1 million by the time.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
finished. Leslie, my wife,
Got a
will.
whole basketball team at home.
That's right. Well, if everybody goes, to 6 of us. But imagine just tickets alone, or but a
Yeah.
popcorn for 6 people, and everybody they all argue. So the kids, so you have to get them their individuals.
Yeah, so your wife probably brings the big purse so she can have all the snacks.
A big bag of popcorn we bring in.
So can you rent the seatbelts, or do they have them? You have them there, or they just like
Sit
strap
down,
them
sit down, sit down. Stop, be quiet.
What's your favorite, your go-to at the movies?
Oh, for food? I like to do the little kids pack because you could get the icy, you could get a little popcorn and a
Little
candy.
dessert, yeah.
And it's only
okay.
it's less than
It's
a
only
small
like
popcorn.
$45.
Yeah.
It's cheaper.
It's
you're
cheaper
right.
than a
It's
small
lot cheaper.
popcorn.
I just
I'll
got to
hit
get
on the kids'
popcorn and
pack.
just pump on that butter.
There you go. That's exactly right. All right, we'll take a short break. We'll see you in about 2 minutes.
Hold on, come back to me. I'm putting it on right now.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 out here at Oak Grove High School. I hope my cell phone service holds up. Yep.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Yep, let's make it happen. Jordan McDowell may be deaf, but his smiling story inspired entire brain. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 4 to 5. Eric Chilton, Chad Silber, Lauren Coleman. And if you're not on Facebook with us, you should be. I'm looking at our comments. It's like a little social club, as you know. Everybody knows each other. They're always in it. So this is funny. So Bobby Odom's like the social chairman. And he's like, good afternoon, Elizabeth. Hi, Nancy Fox. Hello, good afternoon, Melita. Melita goes, hey, Bobby O. And then Shanice just comes in out of the blue back with a movie comment and goes, I love goobers in my popcorn. I love our 4 to 5 room.
Yeah. Well, y'all are missing out if you're not on the live stream because we're having a lot of fun over there. And you can also watch us live on the live stream as well as Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app.
And don't forget, boy, have we buried the lead about this. We have a hippo cam now.
Oh, yeah,
And during
this
the
thing's
commercial
awesome.
breaks, we've been showing the hippos from the Greensboro Science Center.
Yeah.
So go over there and check it out.
They are just too cute, but we have another awesome story to talk about. Football is back on all fields, high school, college, and even the pros. The turf is hot, and we're all ready for Friday football fever.
Our game of the week is Ragsdale and Oak Grove. WFMY News 2, Sean Higgins is live with a preview. Sean, I'm sure players and fans are pumped.
Yeah, but they're not as excited as I am, Chad. Friday nights are my favorite night of the week. I love high school football. The players for Oak Grove wrapping up their team meal right now. Tonight is their first home game as they look to go 3-0 in front of their students and their families and their friends. But to do so, they'll have to beat Ragsdale High School, the Tigers, coached by Johnny Boykin, who is impressed with how far his team has progressed so far this season.
We like where we are going into this game and going into another bye week, the week after, and then we jump right into our conference play. So, like I said, our record doesn't give our team justice. I like this team. I like where we're headed, and hopefully we'll start seeing some results that are more positive for us at the end of the day.
Shared with me that he was impressed with the team's defense last week against Glenn, but the time for moral victories is over. They're expecting a win tonight. Now, I'll have more coverage here from our Friday football game of the week, including talking to Coach Holcomb of Oak Grove and a player here at the high school. And, of course, we'll have highlights from all games across the Triad tonight at 11:19.
Sean, thanks. As you know, football players use most of their senses to keep track of the ball, but one Triad player doesn't have that advantage. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey met a young man who doesn't let being deaf hold him back.
Yeah, Jordan McDowell, he may be deaf, but his smile and his story inspired the entire Burlington Williams community. At a school that is rich with football tradition, this senior has left his mark in the Bulldog history books.
This is my first year playing football. I'm a senior here, but this is my first year playing football.
Senior Jordan McDowell may get lost amongst the many faces of the Burlington Williams football team on Friday nights, but once you meet him, you know he's more than a football player. He's an inspiration.
When I was a junior, I did track with Coach Rigsby, and he asked me, "Do you want to be on the football team?" And I thought, yeah, I decided, yeah, football team. I can be proud, and I feel accomplished.
Go! McDowell is your prototypical high school athlete. However, he's completely deaf. And that's something head coach Patrick Stokes, his staff, and his team have never experienced before.
Go to your position, coach. If he's not over here, get over on that field.
He's had some things that we've had to work together to overcome. Us as coaches too. The way we communicate typically, we've had to learn new ways. Our players have embraced him and accepted him and helped him both in the locker room, because there's some places that his translators can't go. And they have done a wonderful job of helping make sure he has all the resources necessary to be successful. Very proud of our team.
But if you ask his teammates, he's done more for them than they could ever do for him.
He has guts. I will give him that. He has a lot of guts. I could never imagine it. And I'm glad he's found a place where he fits in. I hope people could see this, that yeah, he might not be able to hear anything, but he still is doing something he loves.
It's clear Jordan's love for football and his team grows every day.
And if you're wondering how Jordan and his teammates communicate off the field, Dom told me that his first real conversation with Jordan was in the locker room via Snapchat.
Incredible story, Jalen. That was great.
He's an inspiration to them. I think his value is almost as much off the field, maybe even more, like you said, because they can look at him and say, if he's doing that, we need to up our game a little bit.
Absolutely. And this is not the first sport Jordan's tried. He's wrestled, he's done track, and now football. So just a super active young man who is just a normal kid with a slight difference.
And I imagine that it's got to be for the teammates. I mean, I'm sure several of them are like, I'm kind of inspired now to learn sign language, you know? I mean, because you kind of have to, like Coach said. I mean, his translator is a woman, and she's not allowed in the locker room, I'm sure, at certain points. So, I mean, he's kind of left to his own in there. So, I mean, boy, what a story, Jalen.
It's unbelievable. And some of the clips you saw in the story, you could see the guys, you know, got some hand signals and just trying to show them physically, like, okay, this is what you need to do. Got to get up underneath the collar. Got to get it a little bit more aggressive. And I just thought that this story, if it does anything, it just continues to build that team camaraderie that we love to see on Friday nights.
Does the translator stays with him during practices and
Yep.
helps out with that? That's
Yep,
amazing.
so she's there during practice. Basically, she's next to him at all times. The coach is talking and signing to him so he can, understand the message that's being taught. But even when coaches are like updating him or trying to give him some quick pointers during drills, you'll see her, and you saw her in the story, she's right there on the line of scrimmage. And then, as he gets his tips and his pointers, she'll give him some signs, and then the guys step in and kind of show him physically, and that's the combination.
It makes me think of, they always say if one sense is not there for us, your others become heightened. And I wonder if he's watching things that the guys on the sidelines aren't watching, because they can hear everything, but he's watching probably
so that's
more
like
intently.
his superpower.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he could have probably helped them with some things that he's noticing because they're not watching like he is.
I feel like stories like this just show you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. There's really like no excuse. There's always a way to adapt and get around that. So the fact that he's done all these different sports and he's really good at them, that's awesome.
This is great.
Great
Great
story.
Yeah, just an inspiration.
Jalen, thanks. We'll be right back.
All right, let's get to your 45 roundup. We still got more news to dive into, Chad. Boosters specifically targeting the Omicron variant go out next week. The CDC gave its final approval yesterday. Both Pfizer and Moderna are ready to ship doses to pharmacies and hospitals all across the U.S. Over the last week, about 500 people have died each day due to COVID-19. That's according to Johns Hopkins University.
We're learning more about a deadly house fire in High Point. Firefighters responded to the home on Green Drive around 3 a.m. It was fully engulfed by the time they got there, but took less than 15 minutes to get it under control. Unfortunately, that wasn't fast enough. Investigators found one person dead inside. 4 other people were able to get out safely. We spoke to a neighbor who knew someone who lived there. Apparently, we're going to wait to hear from that person until 5 o'clock. The Red Cross is working to help the victims. Firefighters have not determined a cause. This number is important. It's the number that you can call if you'd like the Greensboro Fire Department to check or install a smoke detector at your home. It's a free service for anyone living within city limits. If you live somewhere else, check your local fire department. Most stations offer similar services.
All right, let's look at some regional temperatures to see what's happening out there today. 85 in the Triad. Could be worse. Head down east. Look at Raleigh at 93 and Fayetteville 91. Wilmington at 88. Charlotte at 90. Boy, Boone, Asheville, perfect temperatures. They're getting ready for that big Appalachian State and UNC game tomorrow. Boone's at 78. Asheville at 79. We are all clear as far as rain goes, and for that matter, even cloud cover across the Triad. Pretty safe to say that we're not going to see a whole lot in the way of clouds. Down east, a different story if you get toward the coast. A couple of clouds there, but really not much in the way of rain. Now, the lower humidity we enjoyed for a day or so, that air mass is moving off the coast. Here comes another cold front. Watch the top left corner of our map here, and you'll see that low pressure in the cold front sink back down to the southeast. As that gets closer and we get that kind of more of a humid flow out of the southeast toward the Gulf, bringing all that moisture up our way, we have better rain chances. It's not huge, but a 20% on Saturday. We'll probably bump that up to 30% on Sunday. This map is Sunday at 4 p.m. So you know if this follows suit, then all that should move by during the day Monday. And that's why we bring those rain chances up to a 50% chance for Monday to round out the 3 days off. But as my uncle used to say, a rainy day off is better than a sunny day at work. So there you go. 64 degrees for that low tonight, mostly clear skies and cool. Wind's not too bad either out of the southeast at 5 to 10, but that does increase the humidity a bit. Tomorrow, 86 degrees, partly sunny and mainly dry. And then as we head into your 7-day there, Sunday with a 30% chance and a high of 85, we bring it down to 84 for Labor Day. And that's the rainiest day of the next 7. It's a 50% chance of late day storms. 40% Tuesday and a high of 84. Notice our normal high is 84 and we go a little bit below that, 82 and 83 for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday mainly dry, but a 30% chance of a late day storm Thursday, 40% on Friday.
People in Jackson, Mississippi have been waiting in long lines for days, desperately trying to get water. The crisis has been going on for nearly a week, forcing schools and businesses to close. The tap water is so unsafe, health leaders are telling people to shower with their mouths closed.
When we caught up with Sharon Dunson, she had not had usable water in her home for more than a week.
What has that been like?
It has been terrible.
Like Dunson, many in Jackson, Mississippi are still without reliable drinking water, despite crews installing an emergency pump at the city's deteriorating water treatment facility.
It smells like sewer.
The water in 53-year-old Cherry White's home is no good. She's concerned for herself and her 5-year-old grandson.
I can't flush the toilet.
How does this all make you feel?
Well, me, it makes me angry. We have low running water to where we can't do nothing.
It's frustrating, it's wrong, and it needs to be fixed. We appreciate you doing it.
Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves says the focus in the short term is distributing as much water as possible to residents in need.
I just wanted to help any way that we can.
Enlisting the help of the state's National Guard.
This is one of 7 mega sites where the National Guard is handing out 2 cases of water per adult.
We don't have the built-in revenue that we need to keep the system maintained.
Anna Wolf has been covering the water crisis for Mississippi Today, a nonprofit news site.
And we've got failing pumps, so that's the mechanism that actually pumps the water out of the reservoir, which is where we get our water from, and puts it out to customers. The other is the treatment mechanism. So, you know, if the water's not treated, we can't push it out.
Part of the reason Jackson doesn't have the funds is because of a dwindling tax base that goes back to the latter half of the last century, when the city saw an exodus of white residents during integration.
And as our population has declined, we haven't had the tax base necessary to keep up this really large system.
Heavy rainfall and flooding last week placed a strain on the aging system, exacerbating long-standing issues with the city's infrastructure. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell told CBS's Nora O'Donnell that the Army Corps of Engineers is among the agencies inspecting Jackson's water infrastructure.
We have to focus on what the future is going to have to be, right? How are we going to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
The National Guard tells us it will be here in Jackson until orders change. Meanwhile, it will take a long time to complete repairs at that water treatment facility. So families will continue battling water availability. Elise Preston, CBS News, Jackson, Mississippi.
Despite the crisis, the people of Jackson remain resilient. Jackson State University's coach Deion Sanders addressed the hardship this week on TikTok. Primetime, as he's called by many, says players living in the city were moved out and the team is still taking on FAMU this weekend.
Right now, we're operating in crisis mode. I got to get these kids off campus, the ones that live on campus, the one that lives in the city of Jackson, into a hotel and accommodate them. So that they can shower properly and take care of their just needs. Make sure all our kids are fed and all our kids have the necessities of life for the next several days until this crisis resides. That's what we're operating in right now. So we're gonna find somewhere to practice, find somewhere that can accommodate every darn thing that we need and desire to be who we desire to be, and that's dominant. The devil is a lie. You ain't gonna get us today, baby.
I'm glad the university was able to do this for these players, but I just think about all the individuals that live in the city of Jackson who are not able to leave. You know, we kind of take water for granted. You just go in the bathroom, you turn on the faucet and water comes out, or you can go in the fridge and grab a bottle of water. But to not have running water for 30 days, that's a long time. You know, I've lived somewhere where we were under a boil water advisory for maybe a week.
Right.
But 30 days.
Well, and they say, I can't remember the stat, but you can live without food a lot longer than you can live without water. You have to have water within a few days, you know, so that's a crisis, a major deal.
Every year, I don't remember the organization, it escapes my mind, but every year there's an organization around here that does I guess it's a call to action about a day without water, and they challenge you to go an entire day without using any water of any kind.
No liquids, period.
No liquids.
Wow.
And I mean, so think about the challenge. You might not think, you know, like, wow, I could probably do it, but like, I mean, something as simple as brushing your teeth. I mean, taking a drink of water. I mean, it's just
taking a pill.
Right.
Well,
it's unbelievable
Washing
how
your
much
hands.
water we use every day for things that we all take for granted.
Well, I'm glad. You know what? And I'm glad that Dion went online and did that that statement. First of all, I think it's great that he's coaching that football team.
That's a big deal. When he was named, I remember I was working in Memphis at the time, and people were like, "Prime time."
That's a huge deal. But to see that he has that heart for those kids, that's great.
They're going to be dealing with this for a while, so if you'd like to help, the People's Advocacy Institute is taking donations. It's partnering with more than 30 groups to purchase water, reusable containers, and filters. You can check their website for more information. We'll be right back.
Not a bad outlook this weekend. Our rain chances just kind of creep up each day. Monday is probably the wettest day. I think we're okay with Saturday and Sunday, but Monday, a 50% chance of showers. Let's take a peek out for the tropics. We've been watching 3 different systems. This one we'll watch closer. That one, if anything, could have an effect on us in the future, but it has to develop. That could be Earl if it gets a name here in the next 48 hours. There's about a 60 to 70% chance that could develop. This one we're already watching. That is actually Hurricane Danielle. At this point, we'll show you the satellite imagery. Winds at 75 miles per hour, the maximum sustained winds within the system. That is barely a Category 1. Takes 74 miles per hour for that. So just barely into that category. But this one is so far north in the Atlantic that it really won't have much of an effect on us at all. So let's check back in at home then with clear skies. Not even clouds here. You see a couple of clouds toward the coastal sections, some entering into southwestern North Carolina, but we are right sandwiched in the sweet spot there with lots of clear skies. Rain chances pretty non-existent today. It's only a 20% tomorrow, but watch what happens with that that low pressure and that cold front slowly sinking. So this Saturday night, now it's Sunday morning, and we go into Sunday at 4 p.m. You see it getting closer and closer, and that's why those rain chances go up. Here's your 7-day outlook through the holiday weekend. Mid-80s for the most part all the way through. 86 on Saturday, 85 Sunday, and 84 for Monday. It's a 50% chance of rain Monday. Saturday, Sunday, pretty normal. Tuesday will hold that 40% chance and a high of 84, and we drop it down to the low 80s. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's 82 and 83. Rain chance is pretty slim there as you head into Wednesday, but bumping up to Thursday and Friday to 30 and 40%.
Selena fans are singing and dancing to some new tunes from the Queen of Tejano. For the first time since her death 27 years ago, her family has released a new album of previously unreleased recordings from the iconic singer. According to the family, Selena's brother was able to work with Selena's voice through computers to make the new music. Some of the recordings use digital technology to age her voice to sound more mature. The album Moonchild Mixes was released Friday and features 13 tracks, and that was last Friday.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought to digitally alter. I'm not sure I wanted her voice digitally altered to make her sound older, you know?
I think it's so cool that you can even do that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, technology is a wild thing. As we know, there's a lot of people who can't really sing that sound amazing with technology, but to have her voice, which is amazing, and be able to, you know, make it sound as if she was living today is pretty awesome.
I hate to be Buzzkill Betty over here, but it's such a slippery slope, our ability to recreate things like that. I was watching James Corden last night, and one of the hosts from a music show, a talent show, was on there talking about how they recreated him and Simon Cowell doing a song right in front of them. Like he was watching himself sing this song.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, this was audio or this was like a telegram?
Both. It was video and audio. It's just scary.
It's like AI,
yes.
right? That's crazy.
It makes me nervous because
what
in the
if
wrong
it's not
hands,
used in the right way?
That's right.
In the wrong hands. I mean, you could put out a video of the President of the United States saying something crazy.
Stop putting bad ideas out there to the people.
The people already know how
Yeah, I was going to say,
yeah.
the hackers are way ahead of us,
Right,
I'll tell you
yeah,
that.
it's just,
but that is amazing how they can make it look so lifelike. And then if they can synthesize your voice and you have voice passwords and things,
great.
What they could do, you
See,
know?
I'm telling you,
Y'all are
this
just putting
is
all
freaky.
the bad stuff out there.
All the bad juju, but gotta talk about it.
We'll take a break and be quiet now.
Okay, yeah.
Hello, WFMI News 2, the official station of Hippos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
A skeptical perspective anyway. Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada.
Chad's new name is Buzzkill Betty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hello. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together like a classic combination.
10-9-8-7-6-5-4-3-2-1. 10-9-8-7-6-5-4-3. Okay.
Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Hey, it's time for my 2 cents. Now, I did this during the pandemic, but I got such a good response, and it's been a couple years now, that I thought we'd do it again. Today, we're revisiting dad jokes. Here's my opinion. With dad jokes, they're either really bad and not funny, or they're so bad they're phenomenal. Here are some that I found online. How many telemarketers does it take to change a light bulb? Only one, but they have to do it while you're eating dinner. You know, I used to be addicted to the hokey pokey, but then I turned myself around. I'm sorry, it's funny. Why do you never see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're so good at it. I know a lot of good jokes about umbrellas, but they usually go right over people's heads. Get it? How do you tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile? You see one later, and you see one in a while. See you later. And this one was from my daughter, Drew. She was 8 when she told me this one at the dinner table one night, and I about spit my food out. I was laughing so hard. Why did the chicken cross the road? Because. That's a good one. Thank you, Drew. And last but not least, and there's a reason this one is last, and you will figure it out in a second. You know, I like wearing 2 different deodorants, one under each armpit, but that's just my 2 cents. And that's your 4 to 5. WFMI News 2 at 5 starts now.
If you do not have those, you're very likely not going to get out.
What fire officials say you need to have to keep your family safe in case of an emergency.
Greensboro police are using new technology to help victims of crimes. How it'll help if someone breaks